the Time Zone, Episode 5, brought to you by the abject alphabet. Today, the letter... In the Time Zone, Episode 5, brought to you by the abject alphabet. Today, the letter E. In the Time Zone, Episode 5, brought to you by the abject alphabet. Today, the letter E. E is for chaotic eating, mine. E is for ever, for eternity. E is for enemy, envy, erectile dysfunction, emasculate, emaciate, efface, even ejaculate. E is for English, upper or lower cased, empire, Ebola, epidemic, epitaph, evacuate, exclusion. E is for exhaustion, E is for exit, and E is for my friend Eeyore. E is for Enns, a river in Austria I've never seen, like the twin babies that were left on its banks. One died, the other his finders named Abraham von der Enns, founder of our family.
From Dead Mennonites by Victor Enns. Look. I look and I look. My leg doesn't grow back. Yes, I tell people I'm hard on things. People too, or so it seems, and especially hard on myself. You must have seen that coming. I work in threes. I remember three-legged races at our school's field day. Dixie Cup ice cream for winners and losers. I came in third. Red licorice isn't licorice at all. My mother explained this to me while offering black licorice, her favorite indulgence along with the dried apricots in her night table. My leg below the left knee is gone. I look and cannot remember what having the leg was like. No memory of it, no phantom pain. Lousy cartilage genetics, said the surgeon. Sorry. My shoulders are bone on bone. I say I am bone tired with elan and forgetfulness. My parents are dead. They died never needing to know I've lost a leg, below the knee. My mother would take it in stride. Doctors were for very near-death experiences. For saving her brother's leg so he could continue being a farmhand with his other brothers. Surgery was rough on the oak table her dead husband made. Grandma begged, blood dripping on the kitchen linoleum. The leg stayed on, my Uncle John's leg, so he could get on a tractor and marry a good woman of Plum Hollow. The line of blood traveling through his 7 children secured. Homestead, too. He smoked himself into an early grave. I carried him with my cousins, me concentrating on my lift, my feet on the church steps. I don't need my leg to get on a tractor. Don't need a leg for anything. I'm ready. Go ahead. Take the other leg, too.
Nobody knows. From the pain room. Pain comers an hour early. I open a window and say, "Fly, please fly away." I'm no Icarus, roar a damn fool. It's you I've come forth. It's you I haunt. I open the window wider, say, "It's cold, outsider." You think? I'll put on my coat. I've a pocket full of pinpoint-seeking needles to reach those tiny spaces between your bones. Yee-ha! I reach into my angel's drawer, opioid close enough now to the hour. So small and so dense, it's just enough. I call it self-defense. My eyes. While this lucky man is happy to have two of them, they don't focus without glasses. I am farsighted, with an astigmatism in one eye. My mother realized there must be a problem with my undisguised, lovely eyes because she couldn't teach me to read. Frustrated, she pulled my ear. See, my ears. To ensure I wasn't being stubborn, and when my eyes filled with tears, she relented. Poor, poor, pitiful me. Yeah, I know. Get over it. We went to the bay to see James Shane, optometrist, who clicked and clacked away until I saw distinct letters, looking at the big E this way and that until there was nothing left over. My mother was thrilled, and so was I, about my eyes, with my beautiful long lashes, wasted, I heard, on a boy. See, boy. My glasses came, like most in small border towns, in a sturdy cardboard bit of business, the size of my glasses, good for stamp collecting by the unambitious. I was my eyes the minute I could separate the letters to read words, then sentences, then paragraphs. I was 5. E is also for the Eaton's Catalogue, where I read the words double gusset, making me swoon. I was 25 when I read Bataille's Story of the Eye in English. I can't pronounce even the title in French, but the Eye, for short, realized Kristeva's theory of objection in her Powers of Horror for me, and provides the opening quotation for the entire abject alphabet. I am abject, that is mortal, and speaking, said Julia Kristeva. The term objection literally means the state of being cast off. I was 50 when my mother died. I spelled out the name to the company making the concrete vault enclosing her casket when she died. The engraver on the phone misheard, and she was encased in concrete as Susan Emph with an F. I was startled at graveside, but nobody admits to have noticed. My eyes the only ones to have seen my heir down by the riverside. A microaggression, a Freudian slip, a comeuppance I can feel guilty about.
For episode 5 in the time zone, brought to you by the letter E. And he was. He was the kind of guy who worried that his garbage was always too loud going down the apartment garbage chute. He was the kind of guy who would have been a terrible Cold War spy, passive voice or no passive voice. How is it, he thought, that I end up with the duvet cover zipper under my chin every time I settle in, no matter how many times I turn it around? He was the kind of guy who derived pleasure from simple fixes, like realizing he was wearing his Fruit of the Looms inside out and backwards, a rare accomplishment. What fun to right side and turn the front to front for such a comfort improvement. No charge, he told himself. No charge. He was the kind of guy unable to multitask his anxieties. He was the kind of guy who wanted to learn how to play the marimba. He was the kind of guy who had a pair of Henkel scissors and a Stanley measuring tape in his night table drawer, otherwise reserved for urgents, emollients, salves, lotions, powders, the week's blister pack, dried apricots, and pain medications. He was the kind of guy who lost interest in others before he lost interest in how to fictionalize their character for stories or poems. He was the kind of guy who edited his emails after he sent them. He was the kind of guy who would reinflate a flat tire until he could get close enough to call CAA for a free tow. He was the kind of guy who ate the red ones first. He was the kind of guy who was always on time and never wore a watch. He was the kind of guy who stayed with his mother as she lay dying, falling asleep to the sounds of her death rattle, which he heard as an apology for leaving him again.
Here's some shrapnel from Victor Ans. The subject is sleep eating, and it's out to anybody who's listening. Did you know sleep eating is actually a thing? My brains are scrambled. Good morning to you. Last night, in the middle of the night, I was sort of sleeping, but not really, I guess. I went into the kitchen and devoured half a bag yet. Not such a big deal, except I kept being asleep. And I kept dropping my food, even after I finished the chips. This included some cheese and some bread and lots of butter. I dropped a piece of a butter dish, also no big deal, except it was a coupe and a beautiful paradise. I also dropped a chef's knife, not once, but 3 or 4 times, managing to avoid my foot and my thigh. This an instance where having the second one with it being a problem. The weird thing is, now that my psychiatrist has retired, I don't want to talk to anybody about this in case it makes him look bad. And actually, this is sort of a new thing that the next psychiatrist will get to deal with, I guess, next month. Meantime, I wanted to tell somebody because I needed to tell somebody. And someone with a little bit of experience, not just with psychology, but also with me. I thank you for being there. I looked it up on the Mayo Clinic site, and yeah, in a time when there's a diagnosis for everything, that's also fraught with a T, to be looking for something like this and to be looking it up, because, of course, there's a thing about eating in your sleep. It makes me sad. Not that there is a diagnosis, but simply that I eat in my sleep. Jimmy Bang would love that. And that's all. Until next time, I'm Victor Enns. In the Time Zone, Episode 5.